First and foremost, how long have you been at the center here?
At the airport, I've been here for approximately 16 years.
Wow. How did you start out?
I started off here as the manager in security. I was a aviation security manager. Before that, I was at the Memphis airport for 14 years, where I started off in the dispatch center there.
Did you ever work the phones and the radios?
Yes, I did. In the Memphis airport, I worked for 5 years as a communication operator.
Oh, wow. Okay. How many emergency medical dispatchers are in your center?
We have a total of 23, including supervisors.
That are emergency medical dispatch trained?
They are dispatch trained, Georgia Post certified trained.
I see. Do you have any emergency medical dispatchers?
Not with our team. We don't have any that we have trained to be emergency medical dispatch trained.
How do you handle pre-arrival instructions? Do you give any pre-arrival instructions for medical calls?
No, we don't. We rely on our EMS team to give those instructions. We give the call to them. They respond as quickly as possible and provide all the medical advice and the medical services that are needed.
I see. Do those EMTs and paramedics ever get on the line, or is it just get there as fast as they can?
They don't. They may ask for clarification on directions, but other than that, then no. We give them the conditions that we receive firsthand. We provide that to them, and they respond based upon that.
I see. By the way, if there's anything that's outside your purview, just say so, and we'll get to the right people.
Definitely.
Okay. The city of Atlanta 911 transfers to Grady, and Grady gives pre-arrival instructions. Do you do something similar?
No, we don't. We have emergency medical staff here that can respond quickly, and we rely on them based upon what we set up for the airport for medical response. We rely on them, so we don't do transfers to Grady or any other unit.
Right. Why not emergency medical dispatch? Why not or TCPR? Do you have any TCPR certified operators?
We don't. We rely on our medical community here at the airport. That's inclusive of a medical director, our EMS chief, and other medical specialists from the airlines to determine what our response protocol should be. And at this time, we didn't determine that EMD or TCPR was a requirement for our center.
I see. I want to talk about the Lawson call, if I can. You've heard it, correct?
I have heard it several times.
What's your analysis of the call? Was that a typical call or a good call, or was there something wrong with the call that you would do differently?
That was a good call. Miss Bolton, Supervisor Bolton, followed our procedures, got the instructions and relayed them to EMS, and did all that she could to handle the call while she had it.
I see. Do you know where that call was first picked up?
The call, I think, was transferred in from one of the other surrounding jurisdictions.
It was Clayton County. Clayton County uses emergency medical dispatch. So Mrs. Lawson was transferred from a center that could give pre-arrival instructions to one that cannot and does not. Is it the policy of all the 911 centers around that cover the airport? There's 6 other 911 jurisdictions around the airport. Is it sort of the working group policy that's transferred to the airport's 911?
If it's a call that's here at the airport, then we do have a one-button policy transfer to where they would transfer the call to us because we have the closest responders that can get here the quickest.
I see. From the time, let me let the plane come here. Just looking to see, no, it's all rain wrapped, we won't see it. From the time Clayton County picked up the call until engine 32, I believe it was, said that they were doing CPR, was 22 minutes. 22 minutes, someone who's in cardiac arrest for 22 minutes has 0 chance of survival at that point, wouldn't you say?
I'm not a medical professional, so I couldn't answer that question.
Is 22 minutes a good response time from the first 911 call to doing CPR?
Well, again, it depends on the factors surrounding the time. Our EMS response tries to get here as quickly as possible, so I couldn't tell you if 22 minutes was a good response time. I could tell you that they responded as quickly and as efficiently as they could.
Right, that makes sense. I'm going to talk to the fire department about response times in general and total response times, but the airport presents unique challenges, doesn't it, in that fire trucks and ambulances, even though we have them on station here, have to yield to aircraft and have to go around the whole airport like happened in this case because they missed the entrance. There are unique challenges to emergency medical response and 911 on an airport environment, aren't there?
Definitely. The airport is a small city. but it's definitely different in that we have moving aircraft with people on it. We have equipment that moves around that get people from the gates to to where they need to go and back. So definitely presents a lot of challenges for us, but again, the way that we have our response set up, we think it's as efficient as possible.
Okay. Can you do me a favor? Just check, Andy, that's just that it says REC still on the screen? Yeah. Okay, good. Thanks. Just save us a little time for me having to go check. Wow. This is crazy. So I apologize for the lack of ideal environment, but let me just adjust this slightly. Hold on. I keep going out of frame. I know we're almost out of time. So is there anything you'd like to say to Ruth Lawson about the loss of her husband?
Our deepest condolences. We are very sympathetic to her. The dispatcher that was on was very sympathetic. She used all of her training to make sure that Ms. Lawson received the best of care, the best of information while she was handling the call. But again, all we can say is we deeply sympathetic to what happened with Mr. Lawson, and our deepest condolences to her.
The communications officer who handled this call had been trained as an emergency medical dispatcher and a quality control EMD at Fulton County, and she also worked at Chatcom, which is also an EMD center. Fulton County and Clayton County are both EMD and transfer into your center. But so she would have known what to say, but she's no longer certified, and your center doesn't use the cards and the software to do EMD, right?
That is correct.
I see. I mean, for those minutes while she was keeping her calm, instead of hearing CPR instructions, we heard about the origin of the dispatcher's name, how her mom watched a sitcom and named her after a character in that. You've sat on the phones, you've run the lines. There's a frustration that you can't help, but she could have helped. She just didn't have the tools.
She could not have helped here because we don't have an EMD program here. So she's not authorized to provide those type of instructions. What she did do was use her training as best as she could to keep Ms. Lawson as calm as possible while EMS was en route.
Have you ever considered emergency medical dispatch or TCPR?
We have considered it, but again, we rely on the advice and the recommendations of the medical community that services the airport, and right now, that's not a recommendation.
I see. And in the, you do have some people who are CPR certified on your staff, right?
We have a lot of people that are CPR certified on the staff. It was a requirement of the city at one time that all city employees get CPR certified. And
can they give CPR instructions over the phone?
No, they cannot over the phone. They're not trained to provide CPR instructions over the phone.
All right, I'm going to give you we're probably close to the last question, right? You just tell me when, because we are being time limited. I understand. This man, Thomas Lawson, lived in Flowery Branch. The closest airport to his house is a grass airstrip in Hall County. Had he collapsed on that grass airstrip in Flowery Branch, he would have been given CPR by his wife with pre-arrival instructions, because every Hall County dispatcher is an emergency medical dispatcher and is medically trained. If he can get that kind of service on a grass airstrip near his home, why not at the busiest airport in the nation?
Again, we relied on our medical community to give us what the guidelines should be, what the recommendations for providing services to our passengers and customers that come to the airport. And right now, EMD is not the recommendation, so he could not have gotten it here. We do have a program that provides for the safest and the highest response possible for an individual that goes into CPR or any kind of cardiac arrest. We have AEDs every 75 feet around the airport, which increases the opportunity for survival for anybody that has an event out here. It was unfortunate that Mr. Lawson did not receive an AED in that short time period, but this is an environment that's very dynamic, as you mentioned before. Things change by the minute, so it was very difficult for us to say EMD would have worked or would have provided better services for him.
I see. One last thing is about the jurisdictions. Runway 8 left, 26 right is in 4 different 911 jurisdictions, plus the 5th overlapping 911 airport jurisdiction. I mean, I know this is beyond your ability from a policy standpoint, but from an operational standpoint, having 7 different 911 centers answer for the airport presents some challenges, doesn't it?
Well, they don't answer for the airport. They transfer calls to the airport. If it's a call that our responders should respond to, then we have the policy that they one button transfer to us and we handle the call from there.
I see. Do you guys answer any calls directly?
Yes, we do. We answer calls directly.
Cellular or?
If the call comes into our center, cellular or hardline, then we answer it.
Can I step in just for a quick second? And I want to reiterate this, because we've been talking about this, and I don't want you to criticize the dispatcher for talking about her name, talking about her parents' discussion. As Gus said, and I want you to reiterate this as well.
Yeah, that was going to be my last comment.
She was doing the best she could to maintain calm, to do everything she could to make sure Mrs. Lawson was taken care of.
Okay.
This was not a flighty dispatcher who was unprofessional.
Have we said that?
Excuse me?
Have we said that?
I think the implication, yeah.
No, we stated a fact that
The implication that you're trying to give is that she was not doing a professional job. Gus, I'll let you respond.
I'm not a belligerent TV presenter, as you wrote in an email. Sir, yeah, go ahead, respond to that.
So, Miyoshi, Supervisor Bolden, was on the line for almost 17 minutes with Miss Lawson. She provided the best service that she could to Miss Lawson, trying to keep her calm under the conditions, knowing what Miss Lawson was telling her about her husband's condition. Miss Lawson did state what the condition was for her husband the entire time, and Miss Lawson told us what was happening during the entire time. So Miss Bolton, Supervisor Bolton, took it upon herself, based upon her years of training, to provide Miss Lawson with instructions and information that kept her calm. That included her background, that included her name, where it originated from, and anything else within her training that would help Miss Lawson remain calm. She did. So we thought that she did a very good job in trying to keep Miss Lawson calm until the EMS personnel responded. We thought that she did an excellent job in providing services on that day.
Okay, understood. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Would you like to add anything? Okay, all right, got it.